Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and you're all welcome to the first edition of Bincom Tech Career Paths Deep Dive Series. And the Bincom Tech Career Path Deep Dive Series is an initiative that was set to get participants interested in the specified tech field, and also to provide a platform for highly experienced professionals as facilitators so they can mentor upcoming young talents in the specified tech field. So I advise everyone today to take advantage of this opportunity. And the theme for today's edition is becoming a quality assurance / automation test engineer. And the next edition for the Income Tech Career Path Series will be coming up next week by 2:30 p.m. That's the 27th of November, 2021. So please, you guys should add that to your calendars because we don't want to miss out. So can you guys hear me?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Our first speaker for today's event, our speaker for today's event, as we only have one. He has a BSc in Information Technology from the University of Bedfordshire. He has experience as a penetration test lead and automation test lead. And he's currently an automation test architect for Quality Test Group. So everyone, let's welcome Mr. Dile Odusoya.
Morning, everyone. Thank you. Morning, sir. Okay, so do you want me to go ahead or?
Yes.
Okay. Are you recording this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So welcome, everyone. So here today, I'm just here to talk to you guys about how to become a quality assurance engineer or automation test engineer. So the first thing we need to, before we even go through that, I don't know the path or the careers anyone is doing. Maybe some of you are already in the field, or some of you know about it already and interested in it, or some of you want to advance in it because you already have an idea or working in that area kind of thing. So I'm just going to go through, just starting with you don't know anything about it, and just kind of get as much information as possible to let you understand what it entails to become any of the two, either quality assurance or automation test engineer. Really, but to do that, we need to start from understanding what software testing itself is and the journey you're about to embark on if you choose to. So I'll just go through what software testing actually is. Software testing is, in a nutshell, testing of a software. But the reason is the software could be a software, it could be a web application. I'll just bring it down to you. Any kind of application you use on your phone or any website you go to do your shopping or buy anything, any of those websites have to be tested to make sure they can actually do what it intends to do. So I'll give you an example. If we'll say you want to buy a ticket to go somewhere, plane ticket, you want to go to a website and buy a plane ticket, you want to book a hotel or anything. The website was designed to be able to give you all you need to go there, easily register and book an hotel or do anything. So software testing is the process of actually testing a software or an application to make sure it actually does what it intends to do. So that's just what it is in a nutshell. So any application, anything you use, any phone, before any phone comes into market, it has to be properly tested to make sure, WhatsApp has to be properly tested. This Zoom, before we used the Zoom, before Zoom came up into the market as well, a lot of software testing had been done, which will cost a lot of money to do that as well. So that is, in a nutshell, what software testing is. So, and if we now go to why software testing is important. And the reason software testing is important is if you don't test your application properly, it can cost you a lot of money, lose a lot of customers. And just for example, I'll give you a scenario as well. There was a time, I think this was even in Nigeria at some point, they did I think it was Pepsi or one or Coca-Cola, one of them. The time there's a promotion that under the bottle cover, you could win 5,000 or you could win something. The software that generated the bottle cover wasn't properly tested, so it over-generated the numbers they intended to sell out to people. So in that scenario, they lost a lot of money because the application wasn't properly tested. So there are loads of, that is why software testing is actually very important. You don't want to buy a phone. For example, you buy a Samsung phone tomorrow and now you're installing your apps on it, but it keeps crashing and all that. So you don't want to use, Samsung will lose their customer. So that's the kind of, that's the reason, part of the reasons why software testing is very important, because all these companies, they have to make sure that's what determines the quality of their product, because it determines of how much testing they've put into it, what their testing process is like. So any company now that's surviving, that's making money, any technology, any kind of company you think about, once they have any kind of technology or awareness, people, be it through an application or they have a website, each one of them, or it's even hardware, any phone company, everybody, once technology moves on, software testers will always be needed. And it's a very, very big path of delivering quality for any company, really. So it's something that it will always be there. It will never go. Once other companies grow their businesses technology-wise, software testing will always grow as well. So it's an ongoing thing. So it's not something that you think, okay, you do it now, you keep learning. If you want to continue to be in the market, you're going to have to carry on learning. It's an ongoing thing. You need to move with the trend, what's new, artificial intelligence is coming into things now. So you need to move according to the market. And move on to what the benefits of software testing is. Like I said, the benefits of software testing for any company is the better you test your product, the better quality you are giving out there, the more satisfied your customers are against your competitors. So you want your software to do what it says on the thing. So those are the advantages and the benefits of software testing for any kind of product, be it a software or hardware or an application, mobile app, any one of them. Those are kind of benefits. You just keep your customers happy, which that is what every company wants, really, I think. So now we move to the types of software testing. We have three main types of software testing. We have the functional testing, non-functional, and maintenance testing. Functional testing is just I'll just give in a nutshell, is testing your application to make sure it does what it intends to do and all the requirements, it meets all the requirements. That's what functional testing is. So for example, a website, again, make sure you can do everything, go to any kind of website, Amazon, you can shop on Amazon, make sure it all does that. That is what you can claim refunds, you can add comments, you can put reviews. That's functional testing. Now, when you come to non-functional testing is, okay, what happens if, for example, there's performance testing, there's security, there's accessibility. So the accessibility one is, okay, how do people with different kinds of visibility use your system? That's how you test it for that. And performance is what happens if 1,000 people are on your website at the same time. Does it crash? What happens if 10,000 people? Instead of then security as well, how secure is the website? How easy is it for people or hackers to pull your website down or try to go and get your customer data, or those kind of things? Those are just non-functional testing. Then the maintenance testing is just once your product is gone live, is in the market now, we just need to carry on testing, which is continuous, and just to make sure, okay, everything is still okay. That's just what maintenance testing is. And in the journey of software testing, there's quite a few certifications that you can achieve. Certification is always good. I think it gives you the drive within yourself as well to know, okay, I know this thing because, well, you're the one that sat the exam. It gives you that. So I would advise people, if you choose to go down this route, I would advise you to look at these certifications and go through it. This journey, it's not an easy journey. If you choose this path, it's not an easy journey. I need to let you guys know that. I'm going to repeat it over and over again because what I say in life is, if you want something, it's not just what you want, it's all about how much you want it. And the information is there for you to go and get it. And I think if I can do it, any one of you guys can do it. I'm not a genius, nothing like that. If I can do it, anyone can do it. So I always believe in strategy. So the first one is the basic one, which is the foundation one, that I expect any of you guys to be able to do it in 3 months. I think it's a multiple choice exam, 40 questions kind of thing. There's the foundation level, you study for it and you can book to do it. I think there are different centers where you can do it as well. I think you come with either Pearson View or one of those centers. You can do that. I advise that. It's even SAT, I'm sure. I don't know. Some of you might have it already, maybe not, and it's one of them ones. I'm just saying 3 months, but really, you can do this in a month. I'm just saying 3 months just, but that can really be done in a month. And you have another level, the advanced one, which you can, that as well, you can pick that. But software testing can go in 2 ways. You can either choose to go the managerial level, which that is what that is for. And you can be a test manager without being technical. You can either choose to go through that, that's where you need that. But if you want to be technical, then this is the one you want to do. If you want to go down the route of actually being automation test engineer, you would have to do this one as well. But for anyone really, this is actually essential. Agile is something that most environments now are looking to go the agile way. So it's always good to have that as well. So just go through this, as everything is accessible to everyone. I think every country you can do that there. So for the other one, now moving to test automation. I just talked to you about what test automation is. And so test automation is, initially the scenario I gave you was using a booking site like British Airways. You want to go to British Airways and book a ticket. So initially, what happened was software testing was only manual testing. So all softwares were only manually tested, and that took loads of time for you to keep doing it. And to test on, for example, the booking website like I'm talking about for before it came out, before it went public to live, and before anyone started using it, loads of testing would have gone through. They would have tested to make sure you can book a ticket, you can add your seats, you can add bags, you can use your frequent flyer if you have that. So they would have done that. So, or that will be doing it manually. The tester goes there, registers, clicking on it, fill all the details, So because that now took a lot of time and slowing down the application going into production, which is into the live environment, that was where automation came into be. So what test automation is test automation is actually automating the manual processes that the manual tester will do for each requirement based on their test cases and test script. Is automating that process. So what that would then do now is, okay, for me to automate this airline website, the British Airways website, is I would automate it so that on a click of a button, you will just be watching your laptop or the screen while the automation tool, and you see everything just being done automatically. It clicks or it registers you, it does all that. And so the testing that will take someone to do manually, maybe in a week, if you automate it, it could probably be done in 2 hours kind of thing. So it was a good advantage for a lot of companies to go down the automation route, because at the end of the day, what happens is they get their feedback earlier and the product goes into live earlier as well. So that's where automation actually started. And there are different types of automation as well, because there are different kinds of applications. You have web-based applications, you have desktop-based applications, you have mobile apps on your phone. So all this as well, each and every one of them can be automated with different kind of tools. We have open source tools that you can use. You have paid for tools as well. But most of companies and everyone now is moving towards the open source because it's free. It has very good support as well. And we'll still talk about a few of them maybe later on as well. And so now, who is a test automation engineer? The test automation engineer is someone who actually automates these tests. And there's a journey, there's what you need, the path and the technology, the tools you need to know to become a test automation engineer. There go down to which technology. There are loads of, like I said, there are loads of automation tools out there. We have open source. Open source tools are tools that are free, and they're commercial tools as well. But most open source, but the commercial one, the reason why some of them, why they want you to pay for it, because they give you some more added advantage, they have better support. But with the open source tools as well, everything really you can be done using open source tool, which is free. It just needs the understanding on how to use this open source tool to achieve this, and how to use the support online as well. That would work if you have issues, have a team, people, mentors, and things to talk to, or people to talk to. And with test automation, for it to work, you need to learn a programming language. This now might scare some of you off now, but it's something that, like I said again, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Just anyone that uses a phone or uses any app on your phone can do it. It's just something about how much do you want this. And so you need to choose a programming language. You want to use, there's Java out there, there's C#, there's Python. You need to choose a programming language and first of all, understand the basics. I'm not saying you don't have to become a programmer. That is not what it is. You don't need to become a programmer, but the way test automation works is the more understanding of programming you have, the better you can automate things. So you need to understand the programming is the heart of like test automation, because just the more you're understanding, it just makes things easier. And there's a lot of support out there as well. And I believe there's no new code. There's nothing you want to write. There's no code I think you want to write now that you won't find it online. Google is your friend. If there's no new code, it's just you being able to manipulate and edit the code. So if you want to automate anything now, someone has written that before. So you would always find that information as well, but you need to understand it. So put yourself in a position to be able to read this information. So you need to decide on which language you want to choose. Like I said, there's Java, there's Python, there's C#. Those are the main ones. There are other ones, but those are the main ones out there that you can use. Then we now go to which tool to use. The different kind of tools. The main one, the most common one is Selenium. Selenium WebDriver. That's the most common tool. It's an open source. It supports different languages as well. That's part of why it's kind of good. It supports C#, supports Python, it supports Ruby, it supports Java, so you can, depending on what language you choose, you can use based on Selenium. We have other tools like Cypress, which is more for more JavaScript. You need JavaScript for that. You have different, I think there's another one, Appium. Appium is for if you want to run automated tests on mobile applications, you can use Appium, you can use Xamarin. Xamarin is quite not free, but Appium is free, is open source as well. We have QTP, I think Quick Test Professional, I think that has been bought by HP now. So there's quite a large number of tools out there that you can use. And the journey of a test automation engineer, eventually you would need to know just more than one tool, because it depends. The tool will, if you learn Selenium, for example, the environments you might need to work might be using a different tool. So you choose, most of the time, the tool needs to be chosen based on the environment, based on the application you're trying to deliver. So with each environment, you wouldn't just say that one tool doesn't fit all. Don't think one tool just fits all. So that's why I say it's a learning process. Next year now, there might be another tool that's currently being developed somewhere that's going to come out that's going to be much better than all these ones there, which you will then need to learn again. So it all depends on the environment or the project you're working on, which determines the actual tool you want to use. Then let's go to test. Once you've decided on the tool, the next thing will be the strategy and planning of your automation processes. So a lot of detail needs to go into this as well. This is most companies and most automation frameworks that fail eventually is because they haven't put enough into the planning and strategy of how this is going to be done. Because you want to build a framework that is robust, that can grow, that's scalable, that's reusable, that's easy to maintain, kind of thing. So a lot of planning needs to be done around the strategy as well, to make sure. So, and this is the same thing with the tool. It's not one size fits all. It depends on the organization. That's what then how the development process is. You need to evaluate all that before you decide on how the automation strategy, how we're going to plan this, how many resources do we need, what tool do you use, and all that. So a lot of detail needs to go into this as well. So that is the automation strategy. Is what I say. You need to put a process together based on the best practices and your understanding of the application that's been developed to decide all the time scales of the project, of the application you're trying to automate, how it's going to be automated, which resources will be automated, the time scale of automating it, and all that goes into the strategy. And also it goes to the how, the tools, the environment, all that goes into strategy. Then another thing is, once that's done and you have a framework, this then goes into integration with build management tools. Build management tools are tools that are used to manage the deployment processes of any organization or any development team. There are loads of them out there. There are open source ones, and there are commercial ones. You have Jenkins, you have Azure, you have AWS. I think you have quite a few out there. So you need to be able to integrate your automated framework into one of these tools, and that is essential. Which means you need to understand how all this integration and build management tools work. How do you integrate there? What understanding of that do you need as well? So there's a lot of knowledge that needs to go into this. There's a lot to learn. This journey is not something that there's a lot to learn. And like I said, again, it's something you can do if you choose to go down this path. There's just so much to learn, but there's so much information out there as well on YouTube. There's so many videos you can watch that are free. We'll share some resources with you guys maybe later on where you can get information from or how we can help. Anyway, give you more information if you choose to go through this as well. There are lots of building utility tools to support the day-to-day testing. There's so much different tools. For example, like Jira, that's another tool that you use. There's different management tools. So that those are different tools that you need to have an understanding for and understand how it works, how you use that as well. There are loads of that eventually, if you go, you will figure out, because you need to raise your box, you need the tool. If you testing either manually or testing using automation, you would need to manage your defects. Some are defects. What that is, some people, it could be defects or bugs. Those are the issues you find while you're testing a product. For example, if the product says, okay, you should be able to book a seat. You go to the book a seat page, you enter your seat, you click continue, and it failed or there's an error. So you have to raise that defect so that the developers can fix it. But that needs to be raised somewhere. So you need a tool to do that. There are tools that are just for defect management, but there are tools that manage a whole project, which is something like Jira. You can use Jira to manage a whole project, not just defects. So yeah, there's just a lot around there. So I'll just show you this, which is just a roadmap. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
I'll just show you this, which is just a roadmap to a full stack QA or automation engineer. I think I'll use, automation engineer. Yeah. Every single thing here you need to know. You need to understand every single thing here you need to understand. Where the journey starts is the first type, which is, okay, the first thing is you need a very, very strong foundation in testing. You need to understand what testing is, which is that's the manual part, which that's what that first exam, what that first certification will teach you. You need to understand everything and what software there is. You need a very, very good understanding of testing. Know how to spot your defects, know how to do very good attention to detail. You need to understand that. Same thing, the Jira, all this is the first thing. The Jira, the bug tracking, Agile and Scrum, everything in here, you need to understand it. Yeah. And all the same thing, all this information is so easy. Like I said, anything here, if you copy each one, just copy any one of them, go and paste it into YouTube, you get so much information about it. So that is that. The next thing is you will need to select a programming language. So those are the available ones. I do quite a few of them, probably. I do C#, Java, and Python. But you can start with one, but most of the ones start with one, you would always, it'll be easy to read the other one because it depends, like I said, again, it depends on where the role is or what environment it is. They might be using a different language to the one you choose. So it's always good to broaden your knowledge and understand, because remember, what you're learning the programming here for, you're not learning it to become a developer. You just want to learn it enough to be able to automate your test. Well, at the same time, the more understanding of programming you have, the easier automation is for you. So if you are actually a programmer or a developer already, automation will be a piece of cake. It will just be something very, very easy for you to pick on. So once you've decided on the programming language you want to start with, because eventually, trust me, you would, by the time you're into a couple of years working or 3 years into this, you'll know yourself, you need to either pick up another language and just understand that. So, but initially, you need to just pick one language and just get started with that one. Then you now need to go to the web automation. So which tool do you want to use? There are loads of different types of automation. That's why I've broken it down here. Like I wouldn't say it's the easiest area to start from, but I would say it's the okay area to start from. You can start with API, but I would say web automation will be the next path. Once you've selected the language, you choose web automation, and like again, the best one to start with is Selenium. Yeah. So if you choose C#, for example, Selenium, same thing. If you go to YouTube and everything and put Selenium C#, you see loads of videos that starts you from scratch on how to automate stuff. So like I said again, it's just about how much you want it. It could take you 3 months, and the same thing in a month you could say, wow, so I can do so much. Because most of these automation videos, for example, if you go to YouTube and put Selenium C#, you will see videos that could say, okay, maybe about 6 hours, 7 hours, that was going to teach you how to automate. Yeah, it'll teach you the basics, which you need to grow on, but it's all about how much you want this thing. That's what determines your growth, really. So if you want it to take longer, but the more understanding of this tool, which is the programming, and the tool, that's what determines how quick you move in it. So once you've understood, you've picked up web automation, you now have your own framework, you can automate a few steps, which, for example, you can automate to go to a website, to register, do some shopping, check out, once you've understood the web application thing, the web automation, then next one you need to look at is API automation. So API is, I'm not sure, I'll just explain what API is. API is an application programming interface. So if you have a website and you need the website to get data from another website or get information from another website, you need to request for the API of that of the target website. So I'll just break this down again. I'm sure you probably have seen some websites, company websites that have maybe on the bottom right corner there somewhere you would see their Facebook feeds coming through. Before they could have that on their website, they needed the Facebook APIs. So Facebook would have given them an API which exposes just their page on Facebook to them. So same thing there. A lot of testing needs to have been done on the Facebook side to make sure that this API we're giving to this guy only exposes his own content on Facebook to him. So they don't want they don't want to be showing other people's content. And so a lot of testing needs to be done around the API side of things as well, especially in instances where it involves financial, involves money. So you don't want to expose, you just want to expose what is needed to your customer. So all that's needed to be done. And it all depends on the customer as well, different types of customer. So APIs, you expose more to different people, different level, different accesses. So in there as well, a lot of testing needs to be done. So that's when, and here as well, there are loads of tools you can use to automate, to do it API. SOAP UI and Postman are tools that you can actually use to do, they're free. No, so Postman is free. SOAP UI, there's a free one, which is I think the enterprise, but the commercial one, which gives you ability to do more stuff. But both of them are automated tools that you can use. REST Sharp is an API tool, which is used with, if you're using C#. So if you're using, you've chosen, well, this one here, if you've chosen C#, the automated tool you can use, REST Sharp works for that. Then rest assured is Java. If you're using Java, it's rest assured. And Python has its own as well. So you need to now understand this. So you now, the next journey after the web automation journey is to choose to learn. Same thing. If you go to any of this YouTube or anything, the course is there as well, which, but if you go to YouTube, you can always get loads of information how to use any of these tools to automate your APIs. And once you now understand, you now have two things in your pocket. Now you understand how to do web automation, you can do API automation. The next thing to look at will be mobile automation. The main two ones out there as well, tools out there is Appium and Xamarin. Appium is free as well as Xamarin. I think is free to an extent for some functions. I think it's paid for. And that's as well. You can choose to use Appium with different languages, supports different languages as well. So the same thing, just similar to what web application is. So it can be used to either test native mobile apps on your phone, or if it's a mobile browser, it can be used to test mobile browsers as well. So it's just the same way that you need to create your test cases and test all your scenarios based on the application you're working on. You need to do the same thing with the mobile app. So once you've gone through that, you understand the mobile application, you can automate all the different types of mobile app or mobile browsers. Then okay, that is you've done very well. By the time you even get to mobile automation, you've done very, very well. And like I said, same thing. It might sound like this is so much to learn, and when do you want to do this? It's going to take forever. But no, it's not going to take forever. It's still all the same thing. I say it's all about how much you want it. How much time are you ready to dedicate to this? And what I say is, what you need to understand is the more you know, it's just life. That's how life is. The more you know, the more you earn. And all this is just something you need to pick up. You need to find time to do it, reduce the socializing hours to do it. That's why I love to party seriously, but you have to dedicate time to do those things if you want it. And it's just something you will see after a year what you've achieved and where you put yourself, and you wonder sometimes when you actually get the job and you're doing jobs, say, oh, wow, why are they paying so much? But the only reason is because you put time to it to learn to know it. So from mobile automation, anyway, the next thing we want to go, the areas we are going to now are more, the next one is non-functional testing. So which is you now have the performance and security testing. So with this one, with performance tools as well, same thing, you have open source tools, which the most popular one is JMeter. That's for performance. The most popular one everyone uses is JMeter. It's open source. LoadRunner is there. The LoadRunner is a very good tool. It's out there. Companies who have a lot of money use it, and some because it's very good. It's not it's commercial. It's not open source. It's paid for. So that's another one. Then that's Zap. That's for security testing, and Burp. Those are just for security testing. But same thing, like I said, all this. That's why sometimes you go to a website and you just say, oh, they said this website is crashed when loads of people are on it. It's because they haven't done proper performance testing. And what they need to do is you want to test your application to see what happens when you have 10,000 people using it at the same time. You know, you need to see the breakpoints. And once you see the breakpoint, then you guys can work on that to optimize your code, do this kind of optimization that would, or increase the RAM on the memory on the server where it's been hosted. Just do things to make sure that it's very stable. There's no performance, the page load, because these are the kind of things that push people away. Sometimes they might not crash, but it doesn't necessarily mean the site will crash, but it just means something like it takes long for pages to load. You lose customers on that. I know a lot of paid websites that go to, once it's slow, I just turn it off, because a website maximum should be 1.5 seconds to me for the page to load. I know, a lot of that's got to do with bandwidth as well, but a lot of effort needs to be put into performance testing to make sure your site is scalable when it needs to be. And that's where a lot of this new platforms, Azure, AWS, that made it so that you can make your website so that it's scalable based on the number of users hitting your website. You can just increase your memory or your processor at the same time based on that. So a lot of efforts needs to be put into that. Then same thing, security. Security is a big one as well. You don't want, there are loads of ways you can lose, you can lose data. You can be vulnerable to intruders. So a lot of effort needs to be put into security testing as well. So which the most common tool that's used with for security testing is called Zap OWASP. So that as well can be built into your automation. So you can, once you've built your framework that's doing this automation, you can add OWASP to it. So what that then kind of does is when you run your automated test, it goes through Zap proxy. Before it gets to your Chrome browser, it uses Zap proxy. So within that Zap proxy, it does a security test on that. And same thing, you need to be able to analyze the results of this test, because loads of times as well, you get results that are false positives. And false positives are just, they're not really true. It's not really a defect kind of thing. So you need to be able to analyze to know that. So the next thing will be microservices as well. To JUnit test engine. You need to be able to understand what all this is. You need to be able to understand. This is just a roadmap to being a full stack automation engineer. Telling you the things, is a journey which it takes time, but you need to understand what all this is and know them, because you're going to use most of them. If you're using Java, you'll be using JUnit. If you're using C#, you'll be using any unit. You need to understand all this kind of thing. They have now come in, so I talked to Johnny a little bit earlier, this tool. So you need to come into the Cicd tools. CI means continuous integration, and CD is continuous deployment. People say development, and it's continuous deployment. So you need environment. You need to understand here. You have Azure, you have AWS, you have Google Cloud. So these platforms are just platforms where people host their applications, host their processes, all their servers, rather than having the usual physical servers. So they don't do that anymore. This gives them the advantage as well, so that it's scalable. They can scale based on the number of customers they have. So you need to understand what continuous integration and what continuous development is. And what continuous integration is, it comes from the world where, because everyone is going agile way now, building things in integration. So continuous integration just means that things need to move. There's a lot of continuous integration will never work if there's no automation. So it is the automation. So what that means is, if a developer develops a part of a code and it commits it into your version control, your source control, GitLab, for example, or GitHub, if you commit it there, once the code is pushed and it creates a build, if your environment has been set up for continuous integration, it creates a build automatically that runs the build. Then it now runs the automated test that you have created. Once that test passes, it will deploy the build into an environment automatically. So this is just an automated process. So that's what continuous integration kind of is, and continuous deployment as well. It's just going through the same process, but you are deploying straight into live. But all this, none of the two will work without good automated system, without good automated tests, because you're saying you just want to automate things and make sure the code you're working on, it could be an upgrade. You're just adding a feature to an existing website, or that's what you're doing. So you're doing that, you just want to run through the process, no human intervention all the way into live. So for you to be able to do that, to make sure this is okay, it's all been tested, your automation needs to be fantastic. The automation tests need to have a very, very good coverage and, cover loads of things. So there's Jenkins as well. Jenkins is a free one as well. So you have things like GitLab. Those are just repositories where you store your code. There's GitLab, there's GitHub, there's GitLab, there's quite a few. Azure have their own as well. AWS has, Amazon, they have their own as well. So Docker system is just use an interface that you can use to wrap your automated system up, so that it just creates an environment that is similar to the live environment or the development environment with all the packages you need that will let your application run. That's what Docker is kind of used for. So really every single tab or every single section you can see on here is what you need to understand every single here. For you to say you are a test automation engineer, you need to understand every single thing here. And I need you to understand, again, it's a journey. It's something you need to start from somewhere, but it's not as difficult or as tough as it seems to be. But like I said, again, it's all about how much you want this. And this is one of the roles that are very, very important, that it's not going anywhere, but you just need to move with technology and upgrade yourself if there are new tools, because like I said, people are always looking to make things easier, to do things easier. So you need to grow with technology. You need to understand every single thing here. There are manual tests that you might choose. You don't want to become an automation engineer. You just want to do manual testing. Yeah, it's not everything cannot be, it's not everything that can be automated. And there will always still be a manual effort there. But it's just like, it's easier for you to find a role if you understand, because for you to understand automation, you would understand manual testing, because before you automate anything anyway, you needed to have tested it manually. So you needed to do that already. So something you would understand. So you might choose to stay there if you choose. That's for me. But I think going a step further and automated things will give you a better chance with the competition you have out there. And there's work regarding everywhere. Any kind of company, like I say again, that is either moving or striving to grow within the technology space would always need a QA. There's no website you would think of that is selling, especially has a shopping cart. You can buy stuff there, that kind of transactions there. All the big companies you think of, a lot of testing effort would have gone through for them before they can go live. You need to test your refund system. You need to make sure that you give people the right refund. If it's not tested properly, you can give them the wrong refund, give them too much money, or same thing, you can charge to make sure that it's the right for you. Shopping, eBay, for example, now, you need to make sure that when it charges you, it's charging the right figure. You need to test all that kind of thing. So it's a space, software testing is a space that is there, and it's going to be there for a long time, and is one of the important ones because it determines the quality of a business. Any product you're saying is the testing you've put into it that determines the quality of it. So not just to go too much into this, but like I say again, everything in here you need to understand and you need to know to become automation engineer. So there are other things as well, apart from all this stuff. There's other things, but this is just the bit that, okay, go through this first. And while you're going through this, you would have covered some of the stuff on the next slide as well. So this just talks about what kind of testing there is, acceptance test-driven development, and test-driven development, behavior, BDD. These are just different. We've touched on performance testing. So Behavior-driven development is just the kind of, it depends on the organization you are as well, but most organizations are based on automation, they're going towards this area, either TDD or BDD, behavior-driven development, or that. So those are things as well that you will need to understand. And this as well, same thing. If you want to understand more about what all those things are, just copy it, go and check it out on YouTube. You see loads of videos, different people talking about it in different ways. And the same thing, when I study and go to looking for resources online or anything, is like what I do is different people explain things different ways. So if I'm actually going through a course or going for a course somewhere, if I don't understand it, just Google it, Google the thing, or go to YouTube and it give you more information, and yeah, you get more familiar with that. So this is just something else, mobile application testing as well. We've touched on that earlier. These are just other things you need to learn. So now coming to tools, these are different tools. Like I said, you have QTP, Selenium WebDrive. QTP is not free; it's now HP. HP now owns QTP. So it's not a free one. You have test complaints, you have test project, APM. APM really is for mobile applications. That's what APM is used for. You have OHL, you have Carton. So there's quite a few different kinds of applications out there. And like I said, eventually, by the time you've gone in deep into this, you will know quite a lot of this tool. None of them is rocket science. Like I say, anyone can do it. You know a lot of these tools after a couple of years or something. You would have. It's all about how much you want it as well. So yeah, these are the loads of automation tools out there. So if I now go to just to round this up and just say, okay, this is where do I start from here, which is probably a question that a lot of people want to know. Where do I start from here? You see, the main thing, like I always say, is you need to understand, again, like this is something that you need to have a lot of motivation. You need to be motivated to want this. You need to be motivated. And like say again, you can do it. It's not any rocket science. It's nothing. Programming is the toughest word out there. That everything we mentioned today could be programming to you, but it's not that. It's not rocket science. Anyone can do it. Just need to spend time. Maybe it might take one person 1 hour to learn. It'll take you 3 hours or 5 hours to learn it. But yeah, at the end of the day, you would still know. So you need a very, very strong foundation in testing. Understand what testing is. You need to strive to be able to find defects in things. You need to be able to you need to understand it to a great deal. Then you need to speak a language, choose the tool, learn about test submission strategy, get a good understanding of DevOps and Agile, try to build a utility tool. Then the same thing I mentioned before this page, which covers the non-functional testing and understanding what TDD, which is test-driven development, acceptance test-driven development, and behavior test-driven development is. You need to understand all those things. So this is journey kind of what we need to go. And there are loads of research and resources as well, which we can probably share some links with you on where you can get resources, where you can get more information. You need a mentor, which I'm sure they'll be provided for you as well. You need sometimes you learn this, you don't want to learn on your own. You need to be able to ask question. You need to where you can, if you want to pay for your courses as well. I'm sure that as well will be shared with you guys at some point if possible. So the main thing is just that's the full roadmap. That's just the journey, letting you understand what test automation is and what it entails, what you need to become a good automation test engineer. But the foundation of it as well has to be your software testing. You need to have a good understanding of software testing, which by the time you do the first certification that I mentioned, actually, there's another slide that I did here, which is kind of a certification schedule kind of thing. This is just something that I put together just to give you a kind of a plan of what the minimum I would expect from anyone who chooses to go through this path is all this. For example, this first one that I've said, it's in your 3rd month, you should be able to have actually done this exam. this can be done in a month, depending on, well, it's not rocket science, again, like I said, because it's just testing basic. The exam is 40 questions, multiple choice. And so that can be, so all this is just something, then the same thing, you just showed your 6 months, you should have achieved this, your 9 months, you should have achieved it. But while you are doing all this certification, you could have started the automation journey as well. The only one that really you shouldn't start before your automation, unless you are already into, you know what software testing is, you know all that, is the first thing is once you've achieved this, which you can do in a month if you choose to, and once you've achieved that, then you can start looking at automation, or you can, depend on how much time you have on your hands, how you want to plan this yourself, you can start looking at both of them at the same time. You know, it depends on how you want to plan it. But I'm just saying at the end of 12 months, which is a long time, which is 1 year, you should have known all this. You know, at least to an extent, at the end of 1 year, I should be able to have done, probably not done all the certification, but at least done a couple of them. And, you know, so that is what I think. That's the minimum I think. Any one of this can be achieved earlier if you put more effort into it. Can be achieved earlier. I'm just saying that's the worst case scenario. That's what that would be. So now we have resources. There's loads of resources, links where you can get information about software testing. Guru 99 is a free one. It's good, depending on how you choose to learn. You know, so there's loads of information you can get here. There's this one as well, which is on LinkedIn, but I think it's only free for 1 month. But if it's free for 1 month, I think you have more than enough time to use your free trial to study stuff from there. Yeah, so that is here's just credits of where some of these resources came from. You know, so that is pretty much all to what we've done. So I would say if you guys, I'm sure you have loads. Any questions you want me to answer to?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Dili. So it's question time. So if you have any questions, you can raise your hand and you'll be allowed to, or maybe you can drop it in the chat section. But I have a few questions myself.
Okay.
Okay. You gave us some guidelines. Can you please break down these guidelines, which an average person can cover in like the first 3 months, 6
Okay,
months,
let
and
me
like 2 years?
let me go back to my screen. You mean, 1 sec. You mean on this page, right?
Yes. What that?
No, this is what I've put here. This time I put here is for an average person. Now this one that I'm saying in 3 months is just for an average person, because it can be done in a month. If you're in, it depends on where everyone is. It depends on how much they're into technology already. I don't know the audience I'm talking to really. I'm sure there are people with different fields, you know, so it all depends on some of it. There might be people on this call or in this meeting that by the time they start studying for the software foundation course, you might see some of the things that you already know, you know, so this is the minimum for, I'm just saying, for someone who doesn't have a clue about it. That's what I'm saying, which is the main one, is this first one, which I say should take 3 months. It shouldn't take more than 3 months. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I was wondering if you could break down the skills that the foundation certification exam entails.
What the skills is just going through. I shared the resource, I think, earlier, which probably will get someone to share with you guys. So the skills of that is just going through, telling you what software testing is. There's a resource here. 1 second, let me try and pull it up. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
So can you say the certified test? I just want to make sure you're seeing the right screen. Is it
No, I'm
certified
still
test?
seeing your slide. I'm still seeing your slide.
Oh, yes, it's in my slide. Okay. Has it changed?
Yes, it has.
Okay, so you can see the foundation level syllabus now.
Yes.
So this is the syllabus for the foundation level. So you just go, can you see it goes through just what is testing, how, let me want to see how big is it? Yeah, about 89 pages. So it goes through everything you need to understand about software testing. At the end of this one, when it goes through it, you should be able to test stuff manually, be it functional or non-functional. You should need it lets you understand all that. It's just the basics really of it, but it gives you that much knowledge, everything you need to know regarding from risk management, from how software testing is being done, how you create your test cases, how you create your test script, how you raise your defects. It teaches you all that, what errors are, what defects are. It goes through all that level. Then even everything up to maintenance testing, it goes through everything. So the ISTQB, that's the body that does this. So actually got this from here. So they have some study materials as well, which I think this is actually the study. Yeah, this is actually the study material that they've sent. So this is, well, yeah, you can go and do a course for it, but this is the study material they've sent for you. So what is testing, why it's important, and yeah, so that just goes through. This is what you need to read for that exam kind of thing, and that is actually from them. There are other resources you'll find online, but yeah, this is what you just need. Everything you need to do that, but it just still gives you the basics of software testing. And at the end of this, what you've after that certification, you will be able to apply even for manual testing roles. But now depends, is most organizations don't just want someone who knows just manual testing, so you need to upgrade yourself. And like I say, it is the more you know, the more you earn. So you won't just stop here, because you can just do this. I understand software testing and be going to apply for a tester job role or anything, but you want more. You need to, but this is the foundation. This is what effort you put in here that'll let you understand what you need to automate or how you need to automate. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. Okay. My next question is what does an expert in this field look like? And let me say, like, after 2 years or 5 years. Are there specific experiences that employers would like to see in portfolio?
Well, yeah, the experiences they would like to see is the same thing. That's why I said within, let me just share this and again with you. Can you see the slide again now?
Yes.
Yeah. So what they need to see on your CV, everything here needs to be on your CV to say you are a good automated engineer. You need to have anything on your CV and have some years of experience of to say, yeah, you are. But the first thing is every single thing here needs to be on your CV. The only one is, okay, maybe it's only one of the languages, but you need to understand every area here, because you need to understand web automation, because web automation is not just alone. Web automation will go, as in web, we always come with API. So for you to be a very good test automated engineer, you need to understand everything: web automation, API automation, mobile automation, performance. Though the only one that's out there that can be separated is the performance and security, because you can choose just to go in the route of just security testing and further your career based on security. You can choose to just go on performance testing, and for that, so the security one, you can be a pen tester. They have lots of certifications on that line as well. So those are the only two that is kind of separated. But at the same time, most environments as well, they want the test automated engineer to know how to use JMeter, for example. They need to be able to do performance testing as well. So everything here for an automation engineer, for you to be into the market, this is the current technology. Anything in here could change anytime because, for example, Cypress is a new one. Selenium has been there forever. I don't know, some company or some people might be putting something together or a new technology together that would change everything here. So this is bound to change. Some of it is going to change because technology keeps growing. So it could be there's a new build management tool you're going to use. It could be there's another tool that's better than Appium. It could be something else that's better than Selenium. That's where you need to grow with technology is. But the main thing is that what a test automation engineer needs to know is you need to know everything on this slide where you need to know everything here.
Okay, thank you. And it seems the software developer role takes priority in the tech field. How lucrative is the software testing field?
Sorry?
And it seems software developers, their role takes more priority in tech. How lucrative is software testing field? And is the field taken seriously like software development?
No, it's beginning to be taken more seriously now because most environments they feel they give the developers more priority because they're the ones writing the code. But it needs to be tested, and testers is changing now. Big companies, especially bigger companies, they are seeing the value of testers, the value testers are adding to it because as the testers are going to find issues you don't want your customers to find. So it's a market out there that is lucrative as well. But the thing is, for you to be relevant in the market, you need to know what the market wants. You need to know everything about putting yourself out there. You need to grow. Same thing, like I say, everything on this page, you need to know. You need to get more information around it. You need to train yourself. You need to get the skills needed. But it's not going anywhere, and it's just going to get more and more. And with what's going on, the pandemic has caused what is helped with is now there are loads of more remote work. A lot of people do a lot of more remote work. So it's open. There's a huge potential there, and it's just going to get more and more. Because that's where we're going. It's just going to start getting more and more. The potential that there is more. There are some roles that you work that an automated tester is being paid more than a developer is being paid in a different company. So it all depends on how you put yourself, how you learn to know this thing. And like I say again, it's not rocket science. If I can be in this space, anyone can be in this space.
Okay, thank you very much. And next question says, is robotic process automation the same as quality assurance testing, or are they different? Because most times when we search quality assurance, we always find robotic process automation mentioned.
Quality assurance, people often mix those words together, kind of thing. Robotics is more on the side of when you automate. Quality assurance can be done without any technical thing. Quality assurance is more of a process, is more of managing stuff. There are people who are quality assurance people that you can have that role and not be technical at all. So quality assurance is the policy which is more about you do a lot of more documentation and assessing things and seeing that. So it's kind of the robotics. If you want to go into robotics, it's more on the automation kind of thing. It's more technical and maybe more challenging, that I would say.
Okay, thank you. And finally, is software testing different from quality assurance testing? And is this different from automation testing?
Software testing and quality assurance testing, like I say, it depends on the company. The words are being misunderstood. A company could say, okay, for that, they could advertise the role, say, I want a QA automation engineer. Yeah, the same role. Someone else could say, I want a test automation engineer. Someone else would say, I want an automation engineer without even anything in front of it. The only one that is different is the automation. Automation QA could be, if you're referring to QA, I would say my understanding of it is more on the non-technical side of it. Quality assurance is more on of the non-technical, how you manage that process. But it's way different from automation. Automation is different. But you need to understand quality assurance. What you're trying to automate is quality assurance, which is software testing. That's what you're trying to automate. You're trying to automate that process. So for you to become an automation engineer, you need to understand quality assurance, which is software testing, really. So you need to understand that bit before you can become a tester. Because before you can automate anything, you need to understand the manual side of it. Testing manually, make sure it works manually, because if something doesn't work manually, there's no point in automating it. So you need to make sure you've automated it and it works fine manually, then you automate it. So it's kind of, you can have this software testing and QA on one side, which is non-technical, and have software and automation on the other side, which is technical, but the automated tester needs to know the non-technical part of it as well.
Okay. Thank you. We have a question from Benjamin. He says, "Sir, what I hear, being a software developer, I can close my eyes towards software testing."
Well, saying if is it on the chat? Is the message in the chat? So sorry, can you read it again, please?
"Sir, what I hear, being a software developer, I can close my eyes towards software testing."
No, that is it's kind of right, but it's incorrect. I'll say why. Developers have the mindset of a developer is different to the mindset of a tester. So you, as if you're a developer, Ben, I'm not sure. So if you are a developer, you need to understand what software testing is. Developers don't look at the code the same way software testers do. Software testers is going in there to break the code. You want to go and see the faults of this developer. What has this developer done wrong? That's what a software tester wants to do. But developers, sometimes in some environments, if you're not careful, they won't like you because you're trying to tell them you're doing something wrong. You're looking for the fault of a developer. That's what you're trying to do. So the parts of it that I said that if you are a developer is automation. Automation is going to be easy, very easy for you if you're a developer. But the more understanding of programming is, automation, if test automation is going to be very, very easy for you. That's what it is. But so the knowledge in understanding what to automate, that's what you need to get from that first certification. This certification, that's the foundation. You need to understand testing in a different way as being a developer, because developers don't understand. Some developers do test. Yeah, you need to, for example, if you develop something, you need to test to make sure it works before you tell the tester that it's ready anyway. Yeah, so developers do some testing as well, but they don't understand. Some do, but most developers don't understand testing the way a QA should be. So you as a QA or a software tester, you need to understand testing, what you're looking for, how to break a website, which areas you think the failure will be. You need to understand that. But if you're a developer, what's going to be easy is using the automation tool, for example, like Selenium, is going to be an easy thing for you. It's going to be easy for you to do that. But the main thing is foundation of testing. Yeah, software, you just understand that, learn that. But if you're a developer, in a nutshell, software testing journey will be easier for you, because even what I'm saying you should go and learn here, a lot of it you already know. It's just trying to put things together for you. And so, yeah, that is it, Ben. I hope I'm clear.
Okay, Benjamin, I hope you got that. In some field in IT, they don't care about certifications anymore. They just want to see what we can do practically. Do we have to invest in certifications to learn lucrative roles in this field?
Do we have to invest in certification?
Yes, to learn lucrative roles in this field.
Yeah, I would say you need to invest in certifications, and where you can, how you need to look at that is, assume it's your company that's looking for an automation engineer or a software tester. Assuming it's your company, yeah? You advertise the role on any of the job sites, and what you need to understand is anytime any of this role is being advertised, they could receive, let's assume, 300 CVs. So you've advertised a role in your company, you want a software tester, you receive 300 CVs, and you need to choose, but you only need one person, for example. You even only need two people. Yeah. You're going to choose the best out of those people. The certification is not like it's a necessity. There are loads of people that work without being certified, but I think it's an added value to your CV to say you have the certification. And don't get me, there are times you can even have a certification that they might never ask for it, but it's just an added value. If I want to break down, you want to choose in those 300 people that have applied for a job in your company, you want to choose the best out of them. So I just feel certification is an added value for you. And also it gives you the confidence that, okay, you know something, you understand this thing, at least before the main experience, give you that confidence. So certification is something that I will always advise people to go through.
Thank you. And you say we need to learn programming. Is it better we start as a developer and then switch to automation testing in the future?
No, not really. If you choose the language you want to learn, for example, let's say you choose C#. If you wanted to go and learn programming, yeah, I'm just trying to give you something that won't take as much time. So if you choose which language, say you want to use C#, you want to use C# and Selenium, for example, all you need to do is, for example, go to YouTube and put in there Selenium with C#. Yeah. If you put Selenium with C#, the tutorial will start from the basics of C#. So they'll teach you the C# or the Java you need to automate. They'll teach you enough for you to automate. So it's not like if you want to go, you can go start yourself and say, okay, go and learn the basics of programming. I tell you, there are videos out there that you can watch that give you the basics of programming. That could be 3 hours, that could be 4 hours. So if you do that, I think that's fantastic. It's a better journey to go through. But at the same time, you can see a course that teaches you both. I teach from be it Java or C# or Python. You see courses that teaches you those things from scratch. So, but like I said again, the more understanding of programming you have, the easier software automation is.
Okay, thank you. I noticed there is a focus on skills so far. Can we talk about practical job experience? Are there specific experience you would need to see in our portfolio? What kind of job role should we be targeting? And are there bad roles to start with in the field?
So when you say what kind of roles should they be, is that what it is? What kind of roles should they be targeting? Sorry, let me, 1 second, let me try and read it. I can't see, sorry, can you read? I can't see the question you read. Can you just read that again, please?
I noticed there's a focus on skills so far. Can we talk about practical job experience? Are there specific experiences you would need to see in your portfolio? And what kind of job roles should we be targeting? Are there bad roles to start with in the field?
The kind of, the skills that I've mentioned in there, those are the skills that the one that I put in there, the different ones are what is needed to automate a project. So at some point, if you're on a project, and at some point, if you are being employed with Facebook, for example, now Facebook or MTN or Glo, any one of those companies have employed you as a software engineer. It depends on the project they're going to put you on. You can put you on a project which is just API project. You're in a team that is just building API. So if you're in a team that's just building APIs, you need API automation. If they put you on a team that is building a web page or building different web pages, it might be it will be web automation you need in there. So all those things are just things. If they're going to employ you now, they're going to employ you as a test automation engineer. So it still now depends on the particular project that they need that resource for. That's what will determine what the actual work you'll be doing will be. So but you need to know all those things. For any of those companies to work, they all have databases, they all have where they store their products, they all have APIs, that's why you need to know everything in there. So it's not just about this, all those skills is a package. They all come together as a package. And some of those skills as well, when you watch a tutorial or any of these courses, by the time you watch a Selenium WebDriver, C# or Java course, by the time you watch a full course, you would have touched on a lot of things. The API, you have touched on a lot of things. So it's not just about we talking about just the different skills, but these are the skills you need to understand. But when you get to work, you might not, depending on the project they're putting you on or why they need you, you might only need one of those skills. You know, it might be a project which they don't do API testing, they don't have APIs, or they don't use any APIs, or their APIs have been tested by a third-party company. You know, so those, you know, this we're just showing you what you need to say. I'm an automation engineer. What you need to know. So what needs to be on your CV? All the skills we've said in that roadmap, everything in that needs to be on your CV to say, okay, I know these things.
Okay, thank you. Peters is asking, sir, can your portfolio and past experience substitute certification?
Oh yes, oh yes. In like I say again, no one is ever asked me before for my certification, but you need to always have it. Definitely, people, if you're certified and have all the certification we've done, said, and you don't have any experience, then nobody wants you. So yeah, experience can surpass it. But now let's look at this way. We have two very, very, very experienced people. They are superb. They are fantastic. Both of them are very, very good. But one of them is certified. That's the only way they can choose who they can decide who to pick. You know, so it just gives you the added advantage. It's not like if you're not satisfied and you're very good, no, it just gives you the added advantage, really.
Okay, thank you. And can we talk about figures, sir? What's the typical entry-level salary in the field in the UK? And what about someone with 4 years of experience? And what is the highest salary range you are seeing in the field?
It's very, very, it depends on the company you're working for, and the space is very, very huge. It's just, if you guys, there's this website, they advertise the most jobs there. Let me actually, I might show you. It's an open thing. It depends on how much you know. You see jobs from what? There are two options. There's full-time roles and there are there are contract roles as well. Yeah, contract roles, definitely. Contract roles pay a lot more than full-time roles, but you can see things from £200 a day to £700 a day kind of thing. So that's the kind of thing you can see. It just ranges depending on. But now, if you're not talking on based on the managerial side of things, it's different. So I'm just trying to open something. Zoom. So I'll just show you this. So, for example, this is a role, an automation test engineer role that I advertised on 19th, which was yesterday, actually. Yeah, I advertised this yesterday. This is a role that needs these skills, but it's paying $350 a day. You know, but then now, for this particular one, they need someone who knows Python. You know, so you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So they need someone who knows Python. So this is a remote work. They want someone for a couple of weeks in Isle of Man, but it's going to pay $355 a day, 6 months contract kind of thing. So, but here's this, you need to know all this. They put all this there. That's what's on the CV. They need to see all this on your CV, which is some of the skills, not all, but some of the skills we've discussed. They need to see all this in there. You know, but the thing is, when you now actually get a job and work and start working, doesn't mean you're going to use all this, but they just want someone who knows all this. You know, so that is just kind of how the market can be. And this one is just saying, $350 a day. That's what this is saying. If I go, if I do, no, my internet is unstable. Sorry, why that is loading. Anyways, an open in the thing, do that. Define search. So this is a role, okay, that's the test manager role. It's paying 600 to 625. That's another role paying 850 per, but this is the test manager role paying 850 per day. That's automation tester there, paying 500, 550 per day. So it's all, and we can see in all of them, they all want those things. Some of them write just basics, okay, like this hasn't said much, but that's 550 per day. This one's the automation developer because they know the key to automation is your developer knowledge. So this one, they want someone 600 per day. So that's just how is this, just different, you know. But the thing about it is no one is going to pay you this much if they don't see the experience, if they don't see that you understand those things. And what they do in some interviews now, most interviews are what they do some tests, they have some coding tests, you know, do send you some link, you do some tests, they tell you to build a framework. So that is what the money is there. If you know it, they'll pay for the skills, they pay you for the skills. So yeah, I hope that clears it.
Yes, thank you. For some people in our community with some years of experience in this field, they are wondering about career progression. What would you regard as the top of this career path? Can they become chief technology officer, for example? And what are some of the key stages before getting to this highest point of the career?
Well, yeah, of course, you can become that. You need to now coming through to the CTO, for example, it's a journey where you can get to that as well. But you need to start from somewhere, and if you want to go, is more exposed to technology that you are. You need to move yourself either through certification to promote, because when you're looking at that CTO level now, to me, it's not just about experience. Certification matters as well. For you to have the added advantage to get into those places. But you need to, there's a lot to learn to get to, especially in this kind of environment. There's a lot to learn to get into that kind of space. A lot of managerial things you need to learn, a lot of human skills you need to get to that. But yes, you can always get to the architectural level as well, to senior architect, to CTO, you can always get to that.
As well.
But at the end of the day, it's all depends on how, okay, for example, people that are already in the field as well, it needs to, there's always an improvement to wherever you are. So if you're someone here now that already, you know a lot of this, or you're probably even an automation engineer already, you need to get to the next level. So it's difficult to answer this question too much if I don't know what level you are. So for example, if I see your CV now, I know, I can say, I know, okay, what next you need to do to get to the next level? What do you need to understand to get to the next level? But this one is just saying this, okay, why we've just done this to get you, so this is what you need to get to this automation engineer. But if you say, but for different, everybody's different. If I look at everybody's CV, for like say, for example, if everyone on this call send a CV, we can break it and say, okay, this is what you already know. So I can say, oh, hang on, you already know this. Come on, this you can do this, the kind of thing. So everyone, it depends on everyone really. But yeah, the potential is there. But the main thing is there's always room for improvement. If I see your CV and you say you want to improve, I can say, okay, if your CV is already here, this is, you need to do this to get to this.
Thank you. I don't know, is there any question from anybody in the audience? You can unmute. Okay. Are remote jobs typical, or are they mostly on-site roles? And do these roles give job sponsorship for the UK, for example? Or can we relocate out of Nigeria with this career path?
Well, there are two options. There's some that are remote work, but there are some clients that want presence. So it depends on the different clients. So there's always remote work, and what's made the remote work even a lot easier now is the pandemic. It's made a lot of company more comfortable in remote work and outsourcing the job. But at the same time, there are some clients that, for example, NatWest, they want someone who can come in at least twice a day. So it's possible with the sponsorship as well, if it is needed. But like I know, it's like I say, for them to consider sponsorship, you need to be able to show them that yes, you are the one. Which is just that they're not taught to your knowledge and your skills. But this is where, if we're looking at sponsorship again, talking about sponsorship, you need to be definitely certified for anyone to. So certification is very, very important on that side of things. So you need to be a grad, you need to be certified. It makes things easier. You can't just base it just on experience because you want to show home office or the visa people that we are bringing these people in. And the only way they can say is, oh, this guy is certified. So there's a document to show this. And trust me, Nigeria as well, they won't believe in whatever just experience you put on your CV. So unless it's a very reputable company, you say your experience has been on, so with that, certification is something that is key if you're looking into that direction as well.
Okay, thank you. But for those interviewing at various levels, could you tell us about interview process in this field? How the interview is done, how many stages, what are recruiters looking out for at each stage? In
Yeah.
addition, are there some sites we can go and practice for interviews? Developers have a rank, but for example, what do testers have?
Well, the ones that I've normally seen is if you just search for interview questions. For example, if you're using Selenium, you can say, and Java or C# can say Selenium, Java interview questions. You see loads of interview questions or even videos on YouTube. You see all this kind of one that prep you for that. You see all that online. So you see that. But now regarding the interview process itself, it depends on the organization or the client that it will be working for. Sometimes it could be just, they do an initial stage. So even the initial shortlist, there's this website called Codility, which they've created this website for people to do tests. So what will happen is we'll create some automation tests on this Codility and say, okay, when you send your CV, you do that test. If you pass the test, then you move to the next stage, which is a technical test. But all that test was just going to be all about all the interview. The most technical one is when you actually do the code test. When you say, okay, you're doing a code test, the other bit of it is more about them asking you questions about different things around automation, which a lot of those questions you will see online anyway. By the time you just go to loads of different interview questions online that you will see. So most of the time, it's only a two-stage process. Most of the time, the only time maybe a three-stage process is when you have to actually interview with the end clients as well. But that's just a cultural fit. They just want to make sure that you fit in with the company. It's not you'll be doing interview with the HR. It's not anything technical already because they know already you can do the job. So that's just the process. But main thing is there's so much because the main thing, first of all, in interview, people, apart from even this software, a lot of people go to interviews and you need to understand what interview is. That interview is a two-way process. You need to look at the interview. People go into the interview and feel that they are at the mercy of the person doing the interview. And when I go into interviews now, I guess it came with experience as well. When I go into interviews now, I want to know if I want to work with that company as well. It's not that I still want to know if they want to employ me. I want to know, am I ready to work with this company? That's why at the interviews, you need to be ready to ask your questions, ask them questions. They come, they ask for, I offer you water, whatever, take it. Because it's a two-way process. It's not that, oh, I'm struggling, I'm suffering, this guy begging, this guy. No, it's a two-way process. You need to understand that. And they need to see that in you as well. They need to see the confidence in you that is mainly the confidence thing. You need to be confident in saying, oh, you are very good in this. And something that if you say you have a very good experience on, when you talk about it, it flows, So for example, now, when I did this slide, all I just did was just wrote all those topics or bullet points of what I want to talk about. But I didn't rehearse or anything. I just say, you know what, because I understand those things already. That's why I even asked make sure say you were recording, because I understand all those things already. It was easy to just flow about it. So the main thing about interview is that people who can actually do the job and don't get the job because they haven't presented themselves well in the interview. Maybe in it, and most of the time is confidence. Your confidence needs to be on point. If you want to progress in any kind of career, your confidence needs to be on point, as in, yeah, they need to know, okay, and who is this guy? You have to employ him. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. Let's talk about you, sir. Can you share about your journey? Did you start as a software developer or a tester?
No, I started IT. My first IT role was in 1998. My first contract was 1998. And I started with support. I was more on the support side of things, started fixing pieces, building, troubleshooting, and stuff like that. Went into, did all the MCSEs, the networking exams. So I started with a networking, and at some point I just thought that I never thought I was going to do testing, because when I started testing, it was more technical. That was when I now moved to, okay, let me even delve into automation there, and automation, yeah, it's a bit of more, it's more challenging, So I'm just been going, and the ways is an ongoing thing. You need to continue learning. You need to want to know about what's going on out there, what's happening in the testing world. Those of these testing forums you can join that share ideas, that tell you latest technology, that you can go and even ask questions when you're stuck. There are loads of, there's one, the main one I use is called SQA Forum. In our SQA Forum, there are loads of software testing materials. There are loads of people you can talk to, but it's something that's an ongoing thing. Is don't think you're just embark on this for a year and study, and that is, no. For you to be relevant, yeah, that's the base of it, of what you want to do for your journey. You need to do that. But for you to always be in the market and stay in the market, and always be employable, you need to grow with the technology, any kind of technology that's coming through, you need to go through that. So, and you need to be around people as well, around people that do the same thing. You need to have mentors that do the same thing. So that's the passion. Sometimes I just, a lot of my friends are kind of in the same thing. So that would, I'll say, is really helped. So sometimes we just have nights that probably, believe it or not, Friday nights, that's what just invite guests, friends at home, drink, just talk about it. We learn about it. And it's a journey. But like I say, trust me, if I can do it, anybody can. In software testing, I have over 15 years experience in software testing area, and we'll learn more on the IT thing. But it's been a journey for me as well, because that's where 1998 does. I'm not even sure how many years that is, but it's way over 20 years, I think. So, but it's not, I'm not saying it doesn't need to take you this long, because it's information. If I had someone that could share this with me, then would have made things a lot faster for me. So what, it's just information. It's just about what you don't know, what you know. I'm sure some people here would have seen some of the figures they pay for roles. I would say, wow, so they pay that much. but it's all about information. I'm sure you guys, if I tell someone else today that, you know what, oh, if you know this, you can earn this much, they'll say, no, how is it possible? Are you the director? You know, they'll say that, but it's all about information. It's all about, now it's all about you yourself. How much are you driven to want this thing? The information is there. There's too much information out there, you know, so, but like I say again, you can do it if you want to.
Okay, thank you, sir. How long did it take you to get to the top of your career, specifically software testing journey? And are there some shortcuts you can recommend for us coming up now?
Yeah, the first shortcut, it's, see, my one, I'm not going to say how long it would have taken to go through, because it's just been growing since. And but the way I look at it is, I look at myself as a business, which a lot of people don't. You need to look at yourself like a business, you know. So every year you need to improve yourself. You need to find how do I earn more money every year? That's because first thing is, every year your bills go up, your petrol go up, any gas, electric, everything goes every year. So you need to treat yourself like a business and make sure you are achieving things. So the shortcut to this is, how much time have you got to put into it? So, like I said, when I was saying, first of all, I was saying the first exam, I put there, say minimum, worst case scenario, 3 months. Yeah. That same thing, I tell you, it can be done in a week if you have time to put into it. So the only shortcut to this thing is, how much time have you got to put into it? So that is all it is. So it's all about you. It's all about the time you can put into it. For example, if you want to learn an automation course, for example, now, an automation course in one of the websites that I use and tell people is Udemy, udemy.com. You know, so if you go to Udemy and buy an automation course, they're quite reasonable, the prices. Yeah. Probably the maximum you would see any of those courses are, maybe, if it's so much, maybe 10 hours. That's how long they say that's how long the course is for. So in a nutshell, if you watch that course in 10 hours, you should be able to automate a page or something. But that is still just the basics for you. You know, there are still other things you need to learn with that. You need to, that'll make you fast. So if you decide, okay, have a timetable, break it down on the every day, I want to use 2 hours, or you have a whole day. If you have time to yourself, so you know what, I'm going to knock this thing down in 2 days, go through it. But the rest of the time is now spending more time to build your experience, to understand the whole thing more, looking at other materials. So in a nutshell, the fast track to this is just about how much time you are willing to put to it. So you can definitely fast track it. It's about how much time you can put to it. And the same that the easy way to show that as well is through the certification, to prove to yourself, like, oh, you know it. So you can say, okay, in 3 months, you know what, I want to do 3 of these exams in 3 months. It's possible. You know, so those are the kind of way, those are the only way you can fast track anything. Fast tracking is all about you and choose.
Okay, thank you, sir. And my last question is, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years is totally a different thing. In 5 years, I would say it will be more, because now I do all I do now, because my role, I'm an architect, test architect. And what I do is more about doing proof of concepts in different countries, getting the work. And once I do the proof of concepts, other people will do the automation once you get the job. So it's more about, then in the 5 years, I'll be probably more on the director level. That's what I'll be looking to do, at least before, probably definitely in 5 years, that will be, but that's the kind of thing I'm looking, and just growing a team of people who are willing, who are ready. You know, that's what I'm looking to, and to bring as much people, you know, on board as much as possible as well. Because it's a journey where I always need resources to do stuff. So the main thing is just to grow more resources to endow within the now in the 5 years as well. Just to have more clients out there, more work out there, even explore more into Africa, Nigeria, explore more into the possibilities, because even on everywhere needs software testing. If you have seen, I think see there's one job serve that I used in Nigeria, I can't remember the name now. Now, if you go there and search for software test, automation testing roles, they exist there as well. Though some companies use developers to do their testing as well, which is not the right way. But but in 5 years, I could say, yeah, that's where I probably see myself. Things could change, but that's where I see myself by grace.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing with us today. And I think that's the end of questions. So please stay back. I have a brief presentation to make about Bincom Dev Center, the host of today's event. The host of today's event is Bincom Dev Center, and Bincom Dev Center just talk about some of the services we offer the Global Tech Program, the Immigrates, the Bincom Mentoring Platform, the Labs by Bincom, Bincom Academy. This is a training program facilitated by Bincom Dev Center. Bincom Dev Center, Technology and Application Development class runs for 4 weeks, and we have locations literally in Yaba, Lagos, Ibadan, Kano, Kaduna. We also offer the service called Light Space, which is a helpful workspace intended to encourage collaboration and drive innovations in the startup ecosystem. And then next service is Bincom community events and projects. And our events are divided into 5 master classes, meetups, idea sharing events, the explore and the challenge, and the brainstorm. Some of our other initiatives include the Bincom Tech Network and the Bincom Tech Club. And these are examples of some of the events which we have on different occasions. And like I mentioned earlier, the second edition of the Deep Dive series is happening on the 27th by 2:30 p.m. And you don't want to miss it. And this program is the Bincom Global Tech Program, which enables individuals to learn skills, gain experience, and gain exposure. And you also have the option to learn tech now and pay later.
What are the things you need for this program? All you need is your laptop device, a hunger and a passion for IT. Those are the core tools that you need. The total cost of the Bincom Global Tech Program for the period of 1 to 2 years is just 1.2 million naira. But you don't need to worry about that because it gets better. We have various financing options to help you cover the cost of the program. So you don't need to have any money to even apply or be admitted to the program. One of the financing options that are available for this program is the income sharing agreement. What that simply means is that the company will sponsor your learning. So you would learn for the period of 1 to 2 years, and you only start paying back when you get a job and you start earning your income after this program. This means that aside from skills, experience, and exposure, the company is also willing to invest its own money on you. That's a total package. What are you waiting for? You need to go on our website, bincom.net/globaltech. You need to register and then launch your global tech career. I'm sure that the tech world, the tech industry is waiting for a great talent like you. Thank you. What are the things you need for this program? All you need.
The next service is the Emigrate service, which provides tech-enabled visa opportunities for people in tech, either the technical side of tech or the business side of tech. It also gives opportunities for people to live and work in UK, Canada, and France. These are some of the services under Emigrate. We have the free services and the premium services. If you're interested, you visit the website bincom.net/immigrate. You can also request for the immigrate service, the pricing link. So this is special invitation to the open day immigrate, and it typically holds 2 Wednesdays in a month. Video recordings for past editions are available. So you can also join the next cohort of Labs by Bincom. And Labs by Bincom is a 3 to 6 month program where people with skills can come and practicalize what they've learned with different people with different teams. And we also have the Income Dev Center Ambassador Campaign Program, which is in partnership with MyCycle, which gives the ability for people to earn from their network and positive social influence. So if you have any questions or you're interested in any of this service, you can contact us with any of the details on your screen. Thank you for listening to my presentation. And now I'll be inviting the co-founder and CTO of Social Lender, Mr. Bade Adeshemo.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon or good morning, or depending on where you are hearing us from. I want to start by saying a big thank you to Mr. Dele Odusonya. Thank you so much, sir, for this time you've spent with us. I saw that they were barraging with questions and just trying to understand around the field. And thank you so much for breaking it down. I'm not sure if anyone else saw it, but I mean, it seemed like it was a very daunting field specifically, but him breaking it down into like the bits and pieces to say, just take each one of these keywords, search them on Google, search them on YouTube, and you can start learning them. I think something else I found interesting was where he was speaking around how long it would take to say some of these things. Yes, average person, maybe 3 months for the average person. But the truth is that some people can do it in a shorter time. Some people can do it maybe slightly longer as well. But the key question is that, is this something that you want to commit yourself to? Yes. So in addition to saying thank you, I also had an announcement. Mr. Dele did mention around the fact that part of where he sees himself in 5 years is that he wants to bring many more people up in the field and many more people to be able to start building their own careers as well. So I'm excited to announce that Bincom Dev Center is adding a new knowledge track to its list of knowledge track. For those of us that are aware, we have knowledge tracks like backend development, starting with PHP. We have the front-end and mobile app development, starting with JavaScript. We have the data science track, starting with Python. We have the digital marketing track, and it goes on like that. Bincom Dev Center will be starting a new track from January 2022, which is the QA and software automation testing track. And Mr. Dele is actually going to be one of our subject matter experts on that track, just mentoring people, providing guidance, and so on. Within the next couple of weeks, we'll be putting up some vacancies around having associates and some internal and external mentors on this specific track. So it's exciting for us as an organization, and we hope that you are also excited as well. With the track, we will break it down as well. So with the Global Tech Program, one of the programs that was advertised just now, we would actually break it down as well from stage 0, where foundation level, some of the prerequisite knowledge that you need to have, to stage 1, where you get some of the foundation certification that Mr. Daly has mentioned, and also the knowledge needed, to stage 2, where within your first 6 months, you are able to gain the right knowledge and experience as well, to stage 3, and then stage 4 when you are ready for the IT industry at large. One of the things Mr. Daly mentioned during this presentation today is the scarcity that exists in the field, particularly in Nigeria, in the UK, and some of the target countries that Bincom Dev Center is preparing tech professionals for. And so, yes, that's our exciting announcement to say that we'll be starting this knowledge track effectively from January 2022. And I believe that we'll be recruiting the cohort from December 2021. Once again, thank you so much to our facilitator today. Thank you for committing your time, not just for today, but also the fact that you've also committed to just helping the industry by building many more people, particularly in Nigeria, but over the years in Africa and so on, and globally, for them to become globally attractive and highly sought after in the field of technology. For our audience today, thank you as well for joining us. We hope this has been useful for you. We hope that you take this as a contribution to your career. For us at Bincom and Bincom ICT as a whole, and then Bincom Dev Center specifically, we are focused on helping you grow. We are focused on giving you as much information as possible, but you have to take action. You have to take action with that information. You need to, if you know these things now, but you don't take any action, you are not different from the person that did not know at all. But now that you have the information, please take the actions necessary for your own career. You are the only person responsible for your career. Nobody else is. Everybody else around you may be willing to help, may be able to help, but at the end of the day, your career is in your own hands. And so that being said, thank you so much, everyone. Over to you, Neka.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And thank you so much, Mr. Dele, for sharing with us today. And thank you, everyone who is present today. And I hope I will see everyone next week. So thank you and have a great weekend.